Hello again and welcome. Thanks for joining me, guys. Hey, once in a while I throw in a video. It's a little bit of a tutorial on something that I'm doing, a project. Well, in this video it's going to be one of those. What I'm planning on doing is giving you guys some tips on how to prepare a shower for tile. Now, over the years we haven't done too many tile jobs, but I'm always one to make sure you err on the side of going overboard to protect yourself from getting moisture between the walls. So the tips that I have should help if you have a project planned. Before you get too crazy putting the tile backer on, it's always a good idea to take like a 4-foot level and put it on the wall. Start with that corner and then work it out past where the tile is going to go. It hits over here. There's a big gap here. There's a gap here. And then again, we hit right here. So the last thing you want to do is take that tile board and just start putting it up and then ramming screws in here when you got this big gap. So what you can buy are these things called drywall shims or drywall spacers. What they are is they're strips. They're about 1.5 inches wide, which will fit right nicely over any 2x4. So for instance, again, I've got my level set in the corner, extending as far as it can go, and there's like a big gap here. So what you do is you slide one of these in here, and then you grab another one. I can maybe try one more, and that gets me nice. So that's the distance that I want to make up for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these in place, screw them to the stud, and then all you have to do is work your way around the room, adding these drywall shims wherever needed. Okay, these shims went on really good, not a problem. So now I've got the same plane from here to that corner, from that corner to the back, and then up on the other side. So here's how the tile board works. Let's pretend this is the tile board. It's just a paint stick, but for reference, let's just pretend this is a tile backer board. And what it does is it's going to go up against this wall, and it's going to go down to the white flange on this tub. Okay, it's not going to go beyond it. It's going to go sit right on top of this white flange. So what is that telling us? Well, there's a potential for water to get through this seam. Now, what most guys do is they'll put their tile backer on here, and then at the end of the project they're going to silicone that real good. That probably will work, but I like to go one step farther. I like to take some of the super duper sticky flashing tape for doors and windows, like the windowsill, and what I like to do is I like to run this along the top ridge of the tub. Okay, and I'll actually extend it. You can see the screw holes right here that fastens the tub to the studs. And I like to actually cover that. Okay, so then what's going to happen is if any potential water gets beyond the tile backer, it's going to hit this black membrane and just run on the tub and then back into the tub. Okay, overkill maybe, but for $11, when that tile board sits right on top of here, there's 100% chance that there's no moisture going to get up and behind that wall. I think it's $11 well spent. Okay, now the last thing I like to do, even though I said there's 100% chance that no water is going to go beyond there, I was exaggerating a little bit. There's always a possibility. So I do take one more step to prevent moisture from getting behind the wall. I take plastic. It's about a 6 mil, pretty thick plastic. And what I do is I take a staple gun and I staple that to the studs before I put the wallboard up. Now, all this has to do is come down just a little bit beyond, maybe 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches beyond the black membrane. Do not extend this plastic all the way up to the ceiling because you do have to let the wall breathe. Okay, so we're ready to hang the tile backer. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about this kind or that kind. I'm only going to tell you that the one I'm using today is this Go board. And the reason I like to use this is because of the ease of use. It is light as a feather, and it's also super easy to cut with a razor knife. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is lay out the position of the board in your tub. When you're installing this tile backer, just make sure that wherever you have a seam or an end, that it ends up on a stud. Don't let it just hang freely in between a stud and go from there. Okay, you can see on this first piece I already have to make some cuts. I got to cut around the valve box and I have to cut around the filler too. So what I'm going to do is just take my measurement off of this corner wall, transfer those measurements onto the board, then you can go ahead and cut them out. Okay, so with this Go board, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to work with. I'm just going to take the razor knife, follow along this line, to score it, move it away from your table, snap it, bend it, and it comes apart. It's just that easy. Now I'll test fit it and make sure it fits. Like a glove. Okay, so what I'm left with is this space right here because the Go board sits right on top of that tub flange. So what I'm going to do is the day before I'm actually going to tile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that in a little bit with some mortar, let it dry good, and then the next day I'll come back and that's when I'll do the tile project. I'm not going to do the tile in this video. This video is mainly just to show you how to prepare a tub or shower for tile. That really is one of the most important things. We've done a few of these over the years, and if you are going to tackle a job by yourself, that's great, go for it. Just make sure you really think about water, how and what water is going to do. The last thing you want to do is have something that aesthetically looks beautiful when you're done, but you didn't take the proper steps to protect what's going to happen behind the walls. So always err on the side of going overboard with protection, and you should be safe. So anyway guys, hey, thanks again for joining me, and we'll catch you next time.